Let's see if this works. I just started recording and got cut off. I don't know what happened. Anyway, welcome back to Ask Amy. I hope this works. It gave me some weird error. Um, anyway, hi Marianne. Some people are coming on. So my question today is from Jolene. And as I was saying in the last video that got cut off, Jolene, Dolly Parton singing Jolene is just booming through my head. But thank you for your question, Jolene, and that's not the worst song that could be stuck there. So let me read Jolene's question. She says, I'm home most weekdays alone since suffering with panic and having to give up work. Being alone seems to be a real problem, and having all that time with my thoughts of being alone, lonely, bored, no one to visit, how can I see that it's not a problem? So Jolene's home alone a lot, and that looks like a big issue that makes her not feel well. And I think it's so interesting to take a little spin on this question. So essentially what Jolene is saying, what you're saying, Jolene, is when people are around me, my mind's somewhere that's a little less annoying, painful, whatever. When I'm alone, when there are no human beings around me, my mind goes somewhere else and I have a whole different experience. I have that experience, and like you say, an experience of thinking about how lonely I am, how bored I am, how no one's here to visit me, that kind of stuff. So that leads to one kind of experience. Now again, when people are around, you have a different kind of experience. I kind of love this. I love that you have this question and that you notice that difference, and that because this is just how it looks to us, and that it looks like, oh, and you don't say this exactly, but I just know this is what's behind it for most people. Oh, being alone's a problem, or I don't like being alone makes me not feel so good. So of course, everything we do in life is going to be about getting people around you and quieting all of that. But I really want you to just play dumb with me here and just kind of feel into this as if it's completely brand new. There's nothing about the physical presence of human beings that does anything magical to you. So you could have a house full of people. You could have all kinds of people banging down your door to visit. You could be the opposite of bored. You could have a million things you have to do or that you want to do or that you're going to do, and all of that. The physical presence of people around, stuff to do, all of that, it doesn't across the board in a real blanket way do anything to us. It's just what's happening, right? It's just what's happening. So in other words, you can have all these people around, like is usually the case for me, all these people around, a million demands, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I just want to be bored. I would love to have everyone just go away for a minute, right? Crave that quiet, crave that alone time. Other times, complete opposite. And that's not a difference between you and me, Jolene. That's where our mind goes moment to moment to moment. So what I want you to see in this, because the answer, this is so often the case, which is so cool, the answer is kind of in the question. So all that's happening when you are alone, and you said it exactly, is your mind goes somewhere else. Your mind starts saying, I'm bored, I'm lonely, there's no one here, I'm alone. Maybe your mind starts saying, I'm alone because I can't work. I can't work because I have anxiety. And then you wonder why you feel a little anxious, right? It makes perfect sense. It makes perfect sense. And when you kind of see it in that way, really want you to get a feel for that. This is not about being alone. Not about being alone. It's about where your mind goes. And it just so happens that just habitually, when you are alone, your mind is used to going in that place and stirring up all that stuff and feeling and experiencing it. When you aren't alone, I'm guessing, and this is just a habit too, it's just where your mind goes or doesn't go. When you aren't alone, your mind is distracted by who's around you, or you're just thinking, oh, isn't this nice? I'm not alone. Isn't this great? I have people to visit and people to talk with. You're still feeling your own narrative. You aren't feeling those people. You can't. Like, there's no magical thing about the presence of someone else. It doesn't make you feel anything. I'm not saying the presence of other people isn't nice, but it doesn't make you feel anything. Do you kind of see that? So I love when I say the answer's in the question, because really what you're seeing here is, oh, when my mind goes somewhere and tells a bunch of stories, I feel a certain way. And when my mind goes somewhere else and tells those stories, I feel a certain way. All of us, all of us. That's how it works. So now we're down to like what's really happening here, which is your mind traveling around. You feel where your mind's going. You're not feeling being alone or being together. You're feeling wherever your mind happens to be going and all the stuff that's showing up in that time. And I don't like look past it being a conscious thought thing. So I know when you ask the question, you're just giving me some examples of where your mind goes. I'm not at all saying or suggesting that when as soon as the door closes and everybody's out and the house is quiet, you sit around and think up this stuff. By this point, it's just habitual. It's just conditioning. It's like for so long, being alone and having that quiet house has brought in all this thinking about lonely and anxiety and this and that. And so that's what shows up. And maybe people coming in the house has kind of helped like move your focus somewhere else, and then that thinking clears out. So you're not doing this, Jolene. This isn't about you needing to change anything or you being the one who's doing it or any of that. It's just to see that all we're talking about when we talk about experience is a brain, and all the brain is a highly conditioned appliance, like your blender or your vacuum cleaner, that's just kind of smart, really smart, and highly conditioned. And so as soon as the conditions are right, it's just going to go over to that story. And as soon as these conditions are right, people come around or whatever, it's going to go to a different story, or it's going to quit this story, which feels good. Does that make sense? This is huge. It's so simple, but it's huge. It's like, imagine you're alone, some conditioned crap is coming up. Doesn't matter if you know what you're thinking or any of that. You might just think, I'm just sitting here and nothing's happening. But if you're feeling that, the feeling it's all the same. So the feeling is just conditioning. It's just what's used to happening, used to coming up. So you're in that. And then on top of that, your mind is saying, oh, this is because I'm alone. This always happens when I'm alone. I really need to get out more and blah, 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 blah. And it spins all this explanation around it. Now, say someone walks in. All of a sudden, that goes away and you feel better. Now, of course, what do you conclude? Of course, you conclude, see, I love when people are around. I feel so much better when people come home. Had nothing to do with that. Nothing to do with that. Your cat could jump on the spaghetti sauce and splash it all over the kitchen, and your mind would shift and you'd feel differently. So it has nothing to do with like, oh, now I'm not lonely, or now people are here, or any of our theories. It simply has to do with the fact that moment to moment through life, we are just feeling the narrative, the conditioned narrative. Could be words, it could just be feeling, it could be anything. But when you start to get a feel for how just habitual and conditioned it is, it starts to lose a lot of its power. So the first step in this for you, Jolene, and this is for everyone, we all have stuff that looks like it's coming from something else, is to see that it isn't. To see that this, okay, sure, 9 times out of 10, 10 times out of 10 even, you feel a certain way when you're alone, and it sure as heck looks like being alone causes that, but it doesn't and it can't. So as soon as you start to separate that, first step, you just see, oh, I'm feeling conditioned stuff. I'm feeling my own experience moving through me, not this condition out here. Automatically, you start to be so much freer. Now, I'm not saying automatically next time you're alone, you feel amazing and have a party. No, I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying that you are now looking in the right direction. You are now starting to see more clearly what's going on in your experience. You know, like, oh yeah, this happened. My mind went there. Oh, I'm feeling that feeling again. But it's not tied to out there, which automatically gives you like so much more freedom, because now you don't have to try to get people to be around. Now you don't have to keep feeding those stories about what it all means that you're alone and all of that. It doesn't mean any of that. You're just feeling life. You're just feeling different fluctuations of energy moving through you. So kind of let it sit there a little bit and see, oh, but this is just an association. And I just think there's so much power in seeing, oh yeah, we get associated with certain things. We get around certain people or away from certain people or in certain circumstances. and stuff comes up, and it's just an association of a machine, of an appliance. That's what that appliance does. It associates, it forms these associations, and it tries to predict things for you, and it does that, you know, it's trying to predict your experience so you don't get any surprises. And in doing so, we kind of buy into it, and so we end up creating for ourselves, or having created through us, the same experiences over and over again, because that's what we expect to have happen. So sit with that, Jolene. And again, just to kind of make it really simple as a little thing to give you to start, just really kind of consider, wow, what if it has nothing, these feelings, as much as it looks like it's about people or about alone versus not alone, it's not that at all. There's something deeper. There's a deeper thing going on I can see. And really all that's happening is I have some conditioned experience, and I don't have to fix that. I don't have to change it. Just seeing that it's just experience moving through you, and it looks all big and complicated because it looks like it's attached to this condition that you can't control. Just seeing through that is going to start to clear this up a lot, I think, and help you start to see it a lot differently. So thank you, Jolene. Hopefully this song gets out of my head soon, but not so bad. I'll just be singing your name all day. Thank you so much for sending your question. I hope it's helpful. And I should say, Little School of Big Change opens in 2 weeks. 2 weeks from today is the first day of school. So go to the littleschoolofbigchange.com, or the link that I'll post here that I posted already, but it disappeared. And check it out. You can pre-enroll now to save your seat so that you are sure to get in before this goes.